If you focus on your breathing, it'll bring you out of your mind and back into your body.
Come on.
Just know that you are not alone.
Crime today is an American epidemic.
Ain't no killer.
The system doesn't work for people who can't afford to defend themselves.
The whole neighborhood know what happened. The whole neighborhood know you grabbed the wrong guy.
I'm an innocent man.
I don't know you the way a mother should know her son.
Everyone saying you did something. After a while, you start to question yourself.
I'll work for free if you take a look at his case.
How are we gonna afford this?
You want me to leave him?
They gonna keep me in here until I say I killed that man. You know I would die before I do that.
We're gonna keep fighting for you.
You got your family, you got your life. Why are you still wasting your time on me?
It's not just about you. It's bigger than that.
Colin Warner lived in Texas
or Louisiana, he would have been executed long ago.
Longer sentences, more prisons.
They took everything from me.
More police.
Everything.
I can't just pretend this situation doesn't exist.
Well, this situation exists too.
The truth is going to come out. Can't leave an innocent man in jail.
I'm gonna take you home. It's just a matter of time.
Congratulations on a beautiful film, another fine performance, sir. It's incredible that you guys brought this film to life. It's important. It's not just about this story, although this story itself is very important. Let's start with that. Colin, you know, in 1980, right? You were arrested and you were incarcerated up until 2001 for a crime you didn't commit. After you were released, when did you find out someone was interested in making a movie about your story?
You just bruised for 21 years.
You want to go to the 20?
No, I'm saying you just... But that is an issue that a lot of people have. 10 years is equivalent to 1. 21 years might be 2 days, right? I went through hell those 21 years. I don't know if any of you all could identify with it. If not, that's cool, right? But this movie here, I would like everybody in this audience to go see it because you don't have to be in prison or go to prison to get something from it, right? I tell everybody that was my part in life. Go to prison for something I didn't do, right? All of us are built for a lot of pressure. Some of us, when we take other people's pressure, we bust. But I believe everything that we go through, every experience, we are given the ability to overcome it and to move forward, right? Some of you are looking like I'm not from you all. I am human, right? This story is so incredible that half you all may not believe it if I tell you. But go see the movie. You may more believe the movie than me, which is cool, right? But give yourself an opportunity to go see this movie. I think it's important for this country, for us as individuals and us as people, right? We could get something and change whatever we feel that is wrong. We have that power within us. My friend Carl King, listen, he's like the ever-ready battery. Remember that bunny? He just stops, he keep going. And that is what the energy that we need. We don't need to stop. We have a lot of time to stop when we're 6 feet under. Nothing is going on then. So while we are here on top of the earth, we move, we build, we create, we meet people. Listen, we could do wonders. But if we don't do anything, ain't nothing changing. I can move it on for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that touches on one of the main things that this movie is about, which is resilience. Not just Carl's resilience to try to exonerate you, but your resilience to not cave in, because they had said that if you essentially apologized or took responsibility, they would release you, but you would be confessing essentially to a crime that you didn't commit. Where did that resilience come from?
From my upbringings. During those 21 years, I had reached to the point where if getting my freedom meant to admit to taking the life of another human being, then I would rather stay in jail the rest of my life. Because that was my stand in life. I may have a next stand a couple of years ago, but I believe each one of us have to stand for something. Even if the whole world don't believe, it's about something. To hell with them. This is your stand, and nobody can say it's not important if you feel it's important, right? A lot of us, we live by what people tell us who we are. Ain't nobody know you better than yourself, right? And if they label you and the label don't fit you, fight it. Because if you don't fight it, you're going to live it out.
Carl, what about you? Where did your resilience come from to fight this conviction for so many years and to work so hard?
First of all, I believe in friendship. And to me, friendship is not only being there for someone in good times, but bad times. So I knew Colin's situation, and I wasn't about to give up because this was a cause. I knew it was a system which seemed so big to me at the tender age of 17. But I know even giving him the support as far as visiting him and seeing him, like any support I could have given him that time would have been good for him.
Just visiting him as the support, but when did you really decide that to sort of start working to fight the case?
Right. That was a few years later, because when he got arrested, I was 17. So we were young. We didn't think that we could have challenged the system. We came from the Caribbean a few years ago. I knew Colin from the age of 5 years old. So initially when he got arrested, I thought maybe there was a mistake, and sooner or later it would have been clear. Someone would have seen that it was a mistake. So throughout the times that he got convicted, and waiting for, after he got convicted, there was an appeal process where it took 6 years to be heard. That's what's called a direct appeal. After you get convicted, you have 30 days to appeal. So we thought at that time there would have been some hope where some of the judges would have seen that there was a mistake done during trial. So Colin waited 6 years for an answer. So at that time, I was getting more mature as far as saying that how could we go about tackling the system as far as getting an appeal. So at that time, I had no knowledge about the legal system. So the only way was to try to raise funds to retain a private attorney to get an appeal. So we did that along with others, his wife and others, where we give attorneys like monies to do an appeal, and they just actually jerk us around. So throughout the times, I decided that we have to do this case by reinvestigating it for ourselves and seeing if we could bring back newly discovered evidence. And throughout the time, I wasn't about to give up. As I said, friendship is not being there for a friend only in good times, but when they are in times of need. And my thing was, I'm a type of person that when I believe in a cause, and it's a good cause, I'm not gonna give up till the end results is positive.
Absolutely. Guys, Lakeith, you play Colin. Nnamdi, you play Carl. Did you guys meet before shooting the film? What sort of work did you do on your character and talking to these guys?
Each other?
No, meet who you were playing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean both. It was Matt Ruskin, our director. It was his idea. He said you got to meet both of the guys before we start because it's such an incredible journey, and you have to see both sides of it as you do in the film. So yeah, for me, it was great. I spent a couple of weeks with Carl. Carl's out here in Crown Heights, and I'm in LA, so I came out here for a couple of weeks. And as you see in the film, he becomes a process server because he needs to get closer to lawyers that can help get Colin out. And so we did some process server work in the 5 boroughs, and I just spent time with him and really tried to get into his mindset and, you know, into how he was thinking, all that, for all of those 20 years. And it was difficult. But yeah, I also spent time with Colin and his family, which was just amazing. You know, you leave after talking to these 2 guys, like, on top of the world. So it was.
Yeah, Colin's funny as hell. That's one amazing aspect. He's just got a great sense of humor, and it's nice to hang around. It was an honor to be chosen to take on this story, to have someone spread their heart out and tell their real story, and just be like, you're the one who's gonna do it. I was like, oh shit, me? That's crazy. So it was an honor to be able to do that, and they invited me into their home, and I met their family, and they blessed me at a shrine that was in their kitchen. And so I just felt like, you know, I really wanted to do justice to the story. I came in and met these people and sat at their dinner table, you know? So, I mean, I cried tears of joy every time I finished watching this film. So,
really? Yeah. Do you think and those tears of joy come from, I mean, I cried at the end of the film as well. That song matched with the end of their story and what they've moved on to do, and also just the facts about the number of innocent people that are currently incarcerated is absolutely horrible. But when you cry at the end of the film, are you crying at the sort of achievement that all of you have together?
I'm crying because I didn't know this, but the reason that I set out into acting was to connect with humanity. And in a way that I normally don't, because I felt isolated in my own mind. I was in a mental prison for a long time. And I felt cut off from the world in ways that, you know, because I thought I was odd and I was different and things. I learned to embrace it later, but it wasn't until then that I realized that there's freedom in embracing it. But telling this story, being a part of this story, helped me connect to the world in a way that I always wanted to, that I didn't even know I wanted to do until I saw it. And I saw him and his family down there up on the stage and their story being brought to light. I did something that matters, that counts. I feel good that during my lifetime I did something that matters. So that's all I can ask for.
Absolutely. Now, you're a producer on the film as well. What made you get involved as a producer?
I was involved. I auditioned and got the part for Carl. And when we first signed on, the film was going to shoot in New Orleans, but it's a story about Crown Heights. And so it was our director's dream for it to shoot in Crown Heights, but because of tax breaks, it was going to shoot in New Orleans. And one day, me and my producing partner just went up to the director, Matt, and just said, "We got to get this film to Crown Heights." And you know, luckily, like a year before that, I was in Ghana and I helped make a film called Beasts of No Nation. And our director, you know, noticed that and he said, okay, you might have some credibility. Maybe I can trust that this can happen. And, you know, a few weeks later, he said, if you can get it to Crown Heights, then we'll shoot in Crown Heights. And that's how I became a producer.
And it's definitely a Crown Heights film. I mean, not just the title, obviously, but the brownstones, the look, it feels look, yeah. Very, very Brooklyn-y, and very specifically that section.
Brooklyn in the house.
Yeah. Especially, we were shooting during Labor Day weekend, and around then there's this big Caribbean festival that goes on at Crown Heights. And for us, having never been to that, and we're both from LA, that was all the research that we needed to jump into these guys. I mean, the food, the music, just everything. It was really great. So yeah, being in Crown Heights served the story so much.
Yeah. Colin, you've been a sort of a big hero of that festival at times, right? No, I thought I read in an article that you participate in that festival.
Oh yeah, upon my release, there was a little band that honored me, but I
Colin's not going to talk about himself. Let Carl tell the story.
No.
No, but I have been to that festival a few times, but not many.
Yeah. Guys, I want to ask how it feels to be talking about this film, having just made this film in the wake of this weekend and our current president who seems to deny racial injustice currently in this country.
Hey, you over there tweeting over there, man? You tweeting your life away, huh? That's tight. Do your thing. It feels, oh man, it's so many conflicting feelings. Because I feel good talking about this film, but at the same time, it's like I can't talk about this film in the same way I would talk about any other film because it's just this personal connection I have to it. It just means so much more to me in a way that almost feels cheapened by being siphoned in through media and through sort of preloaded questions that are consistently asked in the same way by every same interviewer. So it's...
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, you're good. You're genius with it. You witty and shit. No. But it does feel special, and I'm glad that the story's at the forefront. I'm glad that I also at the same time can be talking about things on platforms that I care about. So it's kind of it's a beautiful, strange sensation talking about it. But I'm really, really glad for everybody to go out and see it because part of the reason why this film needed to be made was so that we could communicate the idea and educate people about things like this happening. We live in a country where there's a lot of people locked up, and a lot of people locked up for things that they didn't do, and we just don't know about it. So we have to inform ourselves about it, and hopefully this will help people do that, so we can prevent more of this happening and maybe help some of these people get out.
And to add to that, that was a plug. And to add to that, another reason why I can't wait for everybody to see it, because no matter all the heartache and, you can relate it to today, but everything that Colin went through, you see that you can make a difference from Carl's side. Like one person can do that. So all the heartache and despair that you might be going through and the confusion, you can really motivate a group of people to change.
Yeah, you couldn't say it in a better way, Nnamdi. Couldn't say it in a better way.
Colin, what about you, having gone through this horrific ordeal yourself, the 21 years that you spent locked away for something that you didn't do? What is it like currently at the moment? What does it feel like to have, it seemed like we were on a certain trajectory that was sort of changing things, not as quickly as we would like, but it was working that way, and it seems like feels a little bit like we're going backwards a bit. It's weird for me to say. I'm sorry.
You say we going backwards, but I don't believe we ever went forward enough to go backwards. And this is what I like this movie to do: touch people, right? To make them get on the track to do something. 2 weeks ago, I was in Baltimore with the NAACP conference. The conference was surrounded upon mass incarceration. And my question is, how long have we been talking about mass incarceration? Last conference, the conference 10 years ago, 50 years ago. So my question is, since I was out of the loop, what has been done since the last conference, or the last conference 20 years ago, that we could come in 2017 and have a same conference and talk about the same stuff about mass incarceration and then what is taking place? So this is what I need, the energy from everybody. I met a 22-year-old state representative from Minnesota in Baltimore. 22. He making laws that affect his moms and dad. Okay, that is a start because he grasped whatever early. Then I met a 13-year-old in Baltimore at 1 o'clock at night on the streets of Baltimore with no adult supervision. What the hell is he doing out there? No, you're laughing, but seriously, if you have a 13-year-old kid, is he going to be on the street 2 o'clock in the morning and you're not there? Come on. So the same energy we put for the 22-year-old, we got to put for the 13-year-old because we can't forget them. Because if you forget them now, they turn into monsters. If that 13-year-old is so lucky enough to stand 10 more years on the street, ask yourself the question, what type of human being will he be? Will he want to meet this human being?
Yeah, and I think, and when I say strange, when I'm talking about this and having gone through this experience, I mean uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to talk about this kind of stuff, to be in this particular facet of conversation as it applies to us on a social level. But that's what we need to be if we want change. We're going to have to be uncomfortable. When I was in this role, and when I was playing this role, there were a lot of things about it that made me feel uncomfortable, but I said, shut the come on. That's what's necessary in order to bring about change. Get your ass off your ass and go get uncomfortable so something could change. Because as long as we sitting here up on our phone and on the internet, ain't nothing gonna happen. So just be willing to be uncomfortable and open your mind and say something, do something. Don't just tweet, it ain't enough. Hashtags don't mean nothing. Get out there, do something. You feel me? So that's it.
Carl, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, what he's talking about, and Colin said, from 1980 to 2017, not much change. It even get worse today with the social media where you have cameras, cell phones, and you're seeing certain scenes being captured. For instance, in Staten Island, there's a young man being choked, and the world sees it, and they're telling us what we see is not what happened. So a lot of changes need to be done, and accountability is number one. The people who are responsible for a lot of these situations, in particular with the police abuse, wrongful incarceration, I think if they are penalized in a way where there's a law, that where they find that they did wrong, they are penalized and not waivers being done where they can get away. I think those are the changes need to be made. Accountability.
You still work as an investigator, right?
Well, yeah, I look into cases with wrongful imprisonment.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that we say is that it's impossible to take on the system, and you've said that like this movie is about, it's really two men kind of doing what they can to take on the system. Do you still feel like a lot of what you're doing is an effort to take on the system? Well,
definitely. One person make a difference. You know, if you can help someone else, it could be a big deal. So Colin's situation was a good example, good encouragement to let me know. And I hope others see that we could make differences. Ordinary people could make big differences. Mm-hmm. So I hope that's what the movie will show. You know what I mean? Once there's a cause, a good cause, and you stick to it, sometimes we look for the leaders outside of us. And that sometimes be the problem. But we could start where we at, by believing and doing something about it. That's not talking about it, but being about it. And that's what I'm all about. That's how I get down.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
One thing I have to say, you see this man, Carl King, he got me out of prison. He did work with investigators in the whole career we never accomplished. He did work of a detective. He did work of a lawyer. And this is somebody who didn't go to school for it. So what I am telling you, we all have the ability. We all have some creative powers. Some of us may not realize it, some soon. So they're the ones you see on TV, the artists, the basketball player, the football player, the writer, the PhD, because they got tapped into their source early. We have to tap in, man. We have to give these kids an opportunity to realize their potential, because if not, it's going to be wasted. And we're going to have another problem with displaced energy, right? Because I've witnessed it. I've witnessed a young man got 60 years in prison. And
you make a soundtrack for this one?
No. Let me tell you quick. 60 years in prison, young man. He only had his moms and his sisters. He had like 5 sisters. He didn't need nothing in prison, right? But to go home. Yet, he was enticed, or I don't know if he was enticed, but he felt that he wanted his life to end, but he was not strong enough to end it himself. So what he did, he go sneak thief from other people's cells. He didn't have no reason to sneak thief. But he did that to create a conflict that somebody will do him something, right? In the process, somebody else enticed a next young man to hurt him. And in the process of hurting that kid, he ended up killing the kid. Right? So these are the stories that I have with me. These are the stories that I would say, listen, yeah, it is not guaranteed that when you get sentenced for a crime, that you come back out. It's not guaranteed. Right? I knew guys going over 2 to 6 years, they're doing 25 years to life. I was blessed. Through my whole ordeal, I was like guided. I didn't know at that time because there was a lot of opportunity for me to get added time in prison. But the Lord saved me, and he saved me for a reason. So I have to recognize that. Recognize when we get a chance. It didn't, I'm all about that. I got up, I got over. Listen, you gotta play, recognize it, and use it to your best. Because if you don't, it will come back around again and will bite you in the ass. Right? So wake up, people. We are grown folks. I don't see no minors in here. Might be this little kid, but I might be. He look young, but he might be old, right? Wake up. We could do something. We can make some type of difference.
You young and old.
No, he can be up there, but if he old, I'll give you props. And if you're young, I'll give you your props too. All right? But don't laugh at the young man.
Let's take some questions. Let's see if we have some questions out here. Who's got a question?
Hi, guys. I just wanted to say thank you, Colin, for sharing your story. And everyone would be lucky to have a friend like you in their life, because this is really an amazing story, and I'm looking forward to seeing the film.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really just wondering if you guys are working for the campaign for the film with the Innocence Project, because they also do similar work with people who are trying to be free for being wrongly incarcerated.
Well, 3 weeks ago, I formed a project by the name of Success to Freedom. It's a non-for-profit, so I'm currently continuing the work to try to help others who was in the same predicament as Colin.
One note, right? The Innocent Project, right? I wrote to them from prison, asking for help. But they are limited to the extent that if your case does not involve DNA, they can't help you. See, for like my case, it doesn't involve DNA. So I was turned down and sent to someplace else, and that was my quest. Needed help, right? But again, they serve a purpose, but there are other cases that people doing 40 years for just word them out. One person wrote them out.
And I think because of that, because of Colin's story and many others that were like it, I think that's why now the Innocence Project is taking on cases that were similar to Colin's. I think they just started doing that maybe within the last couple of years. And we have a screening that's at 5 p.m. on Friday. It's at Lincoln Plaza Cinema, I believe. Yeah, for IFC. And I believe the National Executive Director of the Innocence Project is going to moderate a Q&A with us after. So they've been very helpful.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course. Next question, right here.
Hi. So
there he is.
46 years old, this man. No, I don't know.
Don't tell him. So I'm from Crown Heights and was born and raised there all my life. So thank you for bringing this story to screen. And I have an aunt whose husband has been incarcerated for a long time, and she's been trying to get him out of prison because he was wrongfully convicted. And she's been fighting for over 10 years. So I wanted you guys to know what's the best advice you could give her to keep going.
The best advice I could give you and your family is to stay with that family member. Because you are his only hope. His only hope. Without you, and your family's involvement, you have to wait till his time expires. But if you're innocent, why wait? Continue, fight. You're gonna have ups and downs, right? Fight. If you fighting for the truth, there is no stopping your fighting until what Carl say, your goal has been accomplished. I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but tell your aunt or whoever, stay fighting. Find other people who are fighters and continue because listen, nothing is gonna change with him if you all don't fight. Because it's a two process. My story cannot be told without telling Carl King's story. Because two stories become one. Right, so continue fight. If you need somebody to talk to, I can talk to your family members. It's no joke, because I know how serious it is. Right, talk to them, give them a little encouragement, even a little help. But the idea is we need to come together. We can't just leave our people out in the cold. Yes, some of them, they did some messed up shit. Right, but I believe everybody have the ability to change and live a different life, but they have to be given the opportunity. All right, so I hope that answers your question a little bit, but search out. We have Google, they say Google is God. I know Google is God, but they say Google is God. Search out your information. And when you get the information, you put a plan in place. Right? You always have to have a plan. Put a plan in place and execute that plan and see what comes out.
I think we have time for one more question. Who's got it?
Over here. Hey, so this was a question from one of my friends is to Nnamdi, and it's saying, what's the most challenging thing from going to a football star to the creative arts?
What's the most challenging thing? I would say doing it. They're two very different and very difficult things. And it's been a bit of a struggle to sort of get in and to get in on the right foot. But it just, it's taken a lot of hard work and a lot of studying and a lot of, training. And I don't know, it's all really difficult. I can't pinpoint the one tough thing, but if you're in school and a teacher says, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, these are the two things kids might say and raise their hand. I want to be a football player, or I want to be an actor. Those are the two things the teacher's like, all right, you got no shot. You know what I mean? Like, you got 0.5% chance. So it's just very difficult.
Did the discipline and training that went into becoming a professional athlete sort of help you when it came to the discipline?
Yeah, 100%. And I didn't just stop playing sports when I was a kid, so I can't. I would say that sports has been the great sort of mentor for me in life. It's taught me discipline. It's taught me work ethic. It's taught me about ups and downs and having to face them in the public. So it's definitely helped me out, and it's been probably the thing that it's probably been what's helped me transition as quickly as I have. It's been a few years.
Guys, I have to let you go. Congratulations on the film. Congratulations. Thank you so much for being here. It's a wonderful film. It opens this Friday, right, in New York City. And then on September 15th, I think it goes nationwide, right?
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Crown Heights, give it up.
Thank you.